Salutation, this is Christian of 5 Nerd, and thank you for joining. And in One Piece, they have clashes of titans. They have Luffy versus Domingo. They have Zoro versus Kaku. And there's obvious power creep, which I actually love in One Piece. It feels more like progression instead of power creep. Which really it is, but it's very similar to power creep. However, within the first 300 episodes, there are two powers that I feel haven't been developed as fully as they should. Powers that, at their maximum, according to some of the characters, would be undefeatable. Powers that I wish I could see play on screen and clash. Like, I just feel like it may be one of the most awesome fights and involve some of the most incredible feats in One Piece, which is saying a lot. And this clash is between an Afro Afro fruit and a Giraffe Giraffe fruit. Now, the Giraffe Giraffe fruit is actually the Ushi Ushi no Mi model giraffe. It's a zoan type and an actual canon devil fruit. And the Afro Afro no Mi is actually non-canon, something that I have kind of considered because of the episodes where Luffy faces off against Silver Fox Foxy. I believe those episodes were non-canon, but at one point Luffy fights Silver Fox Foxy in a one-on-one duel on Foxy's ship, and Luffy is wearing an afro. And there are some quotes from both of the encounters with the afro and the encounter with the Giraffe Giraffe fruit that I want to take into account and just hypothetically see which would be the more powerful devil fruit. So let's start with a breakdown of the Giraffe Giraffe fruit. Now, it is a zoan type, which means the eater has the ability to morph into human and an animal hybrid. Since it's the model giraffe specifically, the devil fruit eater, Kaku, is able to transform into hybrid between human and giraffe. Some of the abilities we've seen in zoan types is transformation, generally into 3 different types, probably like a speed, a defense, and a attack type, bolstering its respective ability. But we have seen that Chopper, with the use of Rumble Balls, is able to access more different transformations, such as Kung Fu, jumping, Kung Fu and jumping points, which are what he calls his transformations. So we can expect a Devil Fruit user to be able to transform into 3 different types. We don't really see each of these 3 in Kaku's fight against Zoro, but we do see him recoil his neck and shoot his head out like a cannonball, which is very effective. And we can also presume that since he is using his head, which holds the brain, a vital organ, we can assume that the Devil Fruit also vastly increases durability, which also increases his ability to deal damage. He also was able to recoil his neck and extend his limbs, which is able to give him extended reach, which can be very good because if you are in a place where you can hit your opponent, but they cannot, that is good for you. Now, it is a little difficult to estimate what is the Devil Fruit's ability and what is Kaku's ability, because Kaku is a CP9 agent, a specially trained assassin unit, which uses... I forget what the general name for the Kung Fu or the martial art is, forget what the general name for the martial art is, but it basically breaks down into giving you 6 powers until you have absolute mastery of those 6, and then you are able to access a secret 7th ability. These ability includes things such as moonwalk, which is walking on air, to iron body, which makes your body kind of like iron, to shave, which is speed increase. And I'm not going to go into all 6 of those because eating the Giraffe fruit won't inherently give you those abilities. But I also have 3 quotes in particular from the episodes with this fight. 2 of them do come from Kaku, and they would be, I have 4 swords, 6 powers, and the immeasurable strength of Giraffe on my side. If that isn't an equation for victory, I don't know what is. The other quote is fairly similar, saying, don't underestimate the limitless destructive power of giraffes. Now, these are both him bolstering the power, or boasting about the power of giraffes. It's very secluded to him, though. His own friend, who ate the wolf devil fruit, allowing him to transform into a wolf, and Usopp both laugh at Kaku, which means it's possible that Kaku is just a giraffe fanboy. However, Zoro does add that the centrifugal force coming from a body of that size makes for a fast and very deadly attack. Now, some of this can possibly be equated to the synergy that his spinning had with his Tempest kick. However, I get more of a feeling that Zoro was afraid that if Kaku, in his giraffe form spinning, hit Zoro physically, not with his Tempest kick, that Zoro would be injured to a significant degree. This is important because we can reaffirm that the giraffe fruit is able to increase your physical damage output as well as your durability, and ensuring that we have those is key, because we need to know what the devil fruit does so that we can have it face off. However, I feel like the devil fruit doesn't inherently give you much more speed, because Zoro was not afraid of facing Kaku unless he was handcuffed to Usopp, which undermined Zoro's skill and own speed and able to dodge. So he's more worried about being hit than hit the opponent. You know, he's not worried if he can dodge or deflect the attacks, but he is worried if he cannot. So mainly I gather that I would expect defense speed and offense boosting points, as well as the use of head cannon and limb length modification. So those are some of the general abilities that the giraffe fruit would have. Let's do. Here's a setup for the Afro Luffy wears. So during the fight, Luffy is standing next to a few bombs that are in the shape of Silver Fox Foxy that are set to go off basically immediately. And we know that he is hit by the explosion because he tells Silver Fox Foxy afterwards, "You got blown up twice as bad as me." This is important because of a couple reasons. One, he also makes it to the top of a mast that is at least 200 to 300 feet tall before he is hit by the full force of the explosion. And Usopp replies to that evasion by saying, "That's the power of the throw," not equating it to Luffy's ability, which Usopp would be very aware of after spending so much time on the Grand Line with Luffy. So we can equate at least some of the blast absorption as well as the speed to the Afro, which means we know at least that the Afro increases speed and endurance / durability. Moving forward, the Afro isn't contained to just Luffy or just Usopp thinking that it is powerful. It's basically everyone except Nami who understands the ability. Even Nico Robin, the more mature, educated, and the older archaeologist, finds Luffy stronger when he has the Afro. And one of the Foxy pirates even says specifically he, Silver Fox Foxy, shouldn't have let him, Luffy, have that Afro. Nobody can stop him, Luffy, now. And you know there are throwaway lines from a lot of the crew members, and both on the Straw Hat Pirates and the Silver Fox Foxy Pirates. There are a lot of throwaway lines between them that show that over 500 people understand that Afros do give you power. So we know that an Afro would be. We know that Afros are widely known to give powers instead of just one person fanboying over it. And I just want to touch base that the Afro Afro fruit, I would assume, would give you an Afro. Its abilities would probably be bolstered during disco numbers. And I think it would have something to... I think the abilities itself would have something to do with the hair. So maybe the hair absorbed damage or something. But we know somehow it would increase endurance and speed. So what would the face-off be like? Well, hands down, I personally say that the Afro Afro fruit would be stronger. I say this because it is widely known that Afros give you strength versus giraffes, and Luffy didn't even eat an Afro Afro fruit. He had the Gamu Gamu no Mi, the rubber fruit, basically, or gum fruit. Anyway, made him a rubber man. My point is that he actually hadn't eaten a devil fruit that gave him an Afro. He wore a fake wig Afro, which means that we can exponentially compound the power that an Afro Afro no Mi would give somebody. And overall, Kaku is still beaten by Zoro, who, in my opinion, is the second strongest Straw Hat pirate, followed closely by Sanji. But Kaku is, in the end, defeated, whereas Luffy had a field disadvantage because Silver Fox Foxy had set up his ship in a very specific way to give himself the clear advantage, as well as he had won almost 1,000 fights consecutively without any losses. And Silver Fox Foxy had a definite speed advantage where he was able to slow Luffy down, beat him up, and then Luffy feels the impact of all of the punches at once. Now, I wish I had more of a spectacle I could give you, like pixel art rendering of a fight between the two. But it's really just my opinion. But go ahead and try to prove me wrong in the comments. Like, I would love a true debate about this in the comments. So go ahead, leave your thoughts about the Afro Afro versus Giraffe Giraffe fruits in the comments, as well as remember to subscribe to the channel and like the video, and also please share it so that we can really have the biggest and most, and hopefully a very friendly debate on this unimportant but awesome subject. Again, I'm thinking it would be the Afro Afro no Mi, but hopefully we can find someone who can give the Giraffe Giraffe no Mi a chance. But until then, and until next video, this is Christian of 5 Fey Nerd signing out.